Hi everyone and welcome back again to Queenette at DBC VODCAST. My name is Queenette at DBC and today we are going to be talking about healing. I know a lot of people will be wondering what does she mean by healing? Does it mean physical healing or when you heal and you have to heal from your sickness? Well, I'm not talking about all of that. I'm talking about internal healing. Yes, that healing that is from within, emotional healing, that past trauma, things people don't talk about, things people cannot see, but that you actually need. Yes, we are going to be talking about all of that today. So if you've not subscribed to my channel, then please don't forget to do so. All you have to do is just press on that subscription button below and the notification bell so you can always get notified anytime I post a video. And also, please don't forget to share this video with your family and friends so they don't miss out on this goodness I am about to spread to the world. What exactly is trauma? You see, a lot of people are traumatized. Trauma is that pain, that event of something that happens to you. It can be a one-day event and it can be like a gradual event from a relationship or whatever. Something that happens to you that took a lot, that put into pain or struggles, something traumatizing that happens to you anyway. That is something called trauma. But people wonder why do people get traumatized from relationship? A lot of people get traumatized for relationship and we don't talk about this. Trauma is something we don't talk about. A lot of people, a lot of us, develop trauma from our household, from the kind of home we grew up in. If you grew up in a home whereby you see mom and daddy fighting every day, that can be traumatizing as a child. And a lot of kids grow up with this kind of trauma. A lot of people grow up with, from not having a stable household, a stable home, especially those that move from one social to another, parenting, adaptation and things like that, living with this person today, tomorrow living with another person, not having a stable place, a particular place to call your home. That can cause trauma for people as well. Even relationship can cause trauma. A lot of things can cause trauma. Events can cause trauma. A lot of people go through. In fact, I would say majority of us have a lot of trauma in us now that we are dealing with. If it's not childhood trauma, it's going to be relationship trauma. And what exactly is that trauma you are dealing with? Because in order for you to be able to heal from a trauma, then you need to be able to identify that trauma. That's why you see a lot of people, they are always defensive in every little thing. There's not because that is who they are, but because they are constantly being reminded of that thing that they've been through. And they don't even know. Some don't even realize it. They don't know. And today we are going to be talking about basically everything to do about trauma, how to heal from your trauma, the benefits of healing, and why you need to heal from your trauma. Yes, we are going to be spreading everything out today. Like I said earlier, you need to identify the kind of trauma you have within you. Some don't even know they are traumatized, but the people around them will know that I think this person is traumatized. Yes, and if you don't heal from any kind of trauma you have, you are going to struggle to keep a relationship, because the person you are in a relationship with, one way or the other, you are going to be seeing that trauma in them. You are going to be seeing maybe that your father that have always abused you from childhood, you are going to be seeing that person in your father. One way or the other, you're going to be defensive. You're always going to be angry. You're going to struggle to balance your emotions. You are even going to struggle to, to deal with life challenges, especially a child that is always being told to shut up while growing up, or a child that is not being recognized in a family, trying to find his own way into that family, trying to be recognized, trying to fit in. That kind of child is traumatized. Eventually, that child is not going to be able to keep a relationship, because every relationship that child finds himself or herself, that person is going to be thinking that they need to fight their way into that person's life. They'll always feel invisible. They'll always feel they are not being heard. And also those that are dealing with relationship trauma, you're going to keep seeing your past relationship in your present one because you've not healed. That's why we are talking about healing. And we need to identify that trauma. So now you've identified that trauma. How do you? There are different processes to healing, and one of them is therapy. A lot of people think going to therapy means you are mentally crazy, but therapy is not about people that are mentally crazy. Therapy is about trying to find that healing, where that trauma came from, trying to identify it and trying to grow, like trying to heal from that trauma. The professionals, and when I'm talking about therapy, I'm not talking about pastors, I'm not talking about afa, I'm not talking about our area uncle. I'm talking about professional therapists, professional people, professional counselors that are trained with this thing. They can easily help us to identify these things and help us heal from it. So therapy is one of the way to heal from trauma. Another way to heal from trauma is yourself. Yes, giving yourself time, finding things that make you happy, trying to find that thing that traumatized you in the first place, and trying to communicate with God. Sometimes then some healing, hey, the journey of healing sometimes is between you and God, whatever you believe in. Because there are some kind of trauma that it is only God that can heal us from those trauma. We ourselves will not know that we have this thing. We won't even know how to deal with it. We don't even know how to do it. But it's only God that can heal you from some kind of trauma. And as an individual, if you don't heal from your traumas, you're really, really going to struggle, not only in relationship, but from your day-to-day activity. And a lot of things people do now these days, you see people when they go into relationship without giving themselves time to heal, you see them becoming more hurt and more traumatized because they've not actually healed from the past trauma that they have. And one of the disadvantages of not healing before going into a relationship is you'll be hoping that the person you are in a relationship with is going to heal you. You'll be hoping that person is going to be your source of happiness. But one thing you need to understand as an individual, nobody is going to heal you if you're not willing to heal yourself. Secondly, our partner is not a therapist. Our husband, our wife, our boyfriend, our girlfriend, they are not therapists. Even these people themselves won't even know how to handle the situation. They don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to handle your trauma. They don't know. It is not their fault. Majority of them actually wish to help, but they cannot help because they are not professionalists. They are not therapists. They cannot do it. You'll be waiting for them to make you happy. I understand the fact that relationship contributes to our happiness, but as an individual, you need to be able to be happy yourself. If you're not happy, if you don't know how to make yourself happy, if you've not find happiness in yourself, the person you are with cannot make you happy. You need to be able to understand what happiness is, find that happiness in yourself before you can get happiness in your spouse, before you can get happiness in your boyfriend, before you can get happiness in your girlfriend. We need to understand that. And when we've not feeling fully healed, the another thing is going to make us to lose our potential life partner. Is going to make us to lose someone really, really dear and important to us. It's even going to make us to lose friends. It's going to make us to lose family, like important people, business partners, people that can benefit us in a positive way, because we've not actually healed from our trauma. When you are traumatized, it prevents you from seeing the good in people. It prevents you from seeing what that person has to offer you. Majority of the time, you're going to be thinking the whole world revolves around you, but it is not about you. It is the trauma. It is the fear. Some people, they are traumatized, and because they are traumatized, they are scared of committing. They have that fear of commitment. Because they are traumatized, they have the, trust issues. Because they are traumatized, they have insecurity issues. Because they are traumatized, they tend to be, thinking they are invisible. Some have this, even the issue of having to express themselves. They cannot express themselves because they are traumatized. You see a lot of women and a lot of men saying women are bad, women are this, men are bad, men are scum, they are this, they are that, because they've not actually healed from their trauma. And because they are still in traumas, they categorize all women and all men to be the same. They are scared to even open their eyes to see that there are still good people out there. That's why I used to ask some women, like I used to ask them, what happened when they tell me that they have four baby mamas, some men, or some we say they have four baby daddies, or two baby daddies, two different kids, three. Like, I used to ask, what happened? Because you cannot tell me the first one is bad, the second one is bad, the third one is bad, the fourth one is bad. Like, you actually need to check yourself. What are you doing wrong? And the problem is, majority of the time when you try to retrace what they are doing wrong, they don't give themselves time to heal before going into the next relationship. And when they go into the next relationship with that trauma, with that pain, the next person they are in a relationship with is eventually going to see that pain, see that trauma, because they are punishing that person. Stylishly, they'll be punishing that person for that pain and trauma that they have with them. And that person is eventually going to go because they are scared. They are scared of being by themselves. They are scared of being alone. Immediately, they jump into the next one without even giving themselves time to evaluate themselves, to check if the person is actually the right one for them. That's why you see some people making the same mistakes 20 times and not even learning, because they've not actually healed from their trauma. Healing from your trauma can make a very great positive impact in your life. And one of them is it helps you in finding the right person for you, because then you are able to identify yourself, you are able to find yourself and know exactly what you want for yourself as an individual. And when you know exactly what you want, you'll be able to set your boundaries, you'll be able to set your standards, and you'll be able to find the right person for you and even keep that person. Also, I know a lot of our mothers back then contributed to a lot of us being traumatized, because back then, especially in Africa, if you're in a relationship, you learn a lot of women saying, I'm staying because of my children, I'm staying because of my children, my kids, I want them to grow. And they'll be in a toxic environment, a toxic relationship, not knowing that remaining in that relationship is not actually doing that child any good. It is actually traumatizing that child, and that child will grow up being toxic. That child will grow up with trauma. That child will grow up that the way of life in where he or she grew up from is the right way to live. And please, as an adult, let's try to always heal before going into a relationship. Remember, when you're a traumatized person and you now meet someone that is not traumatized, and you then go in with your own traumatized experience, with your own trauma, and you go into that relationship, you are going to end up transferring that trauma you've had in you are going to end up transferring it to that person that came into that relationship healthy. And before you know it, you are going to leave that person also broken. And now we now have two traumatized people. And if that other person also did not heal, because both of you are going to end up splitting, if that person did not heal before going into another relationship, they are going to do the same thing to their next person. And before you know it, it keeps spreading and spreading and spreading. And that's why I think we have a lot of fucked up people now in our society. Another way for you to know that you are being traumatized is when you find it's difficult to let go. Yes, this is something that happens to traumatized people a lot. When something happens to them, they tend to find it difficult to let go. For example, if you hurt them, maybe you and them have a misunderstanding, they'll find it difficult, even though that issue has been sorted, they'll still find it difficult to let go of that situation, because they feel like they have to prove themselves to you. Then they feel like they have to pay you back, or they have to find evidence. They have to make you see that you are actually the problem, forgetting the fact that in a relationship, it is not about who is right or who is wrong. They find it difficult to let go of things. They always try to, people like them, that's why you see them, they'll be angry for weeks. They can be angry for weeks. They can be angry for months. And it's a sign of trauma, because they find it difficult to process their emotions. They think they are not being heard. They think they are not being seen. And the person that you and them might have had that altercations, that you and them might have had that issue, or that you and them might have solved that issue, that person might have moved on, might have forgotten that there's an issue that happened yesterday. They might have moved on, but you are still holding on to that pain. So being traumatized can cause a lot of things to you as a person. Trauma can mess up your mental health. It can make you crazy. And the thing is, people are not going to see it. It's like an hidden pain, an hidden problem, hidden wound that people are not going to see physically, but is actually going in there. So in order for you to heal from your trauma, then you need yourself. You need therapy. You need prayers, like your connection with God. You need to be able to communicate with God, because there are some things that only God can heal. And give yourself time to heal. Give yourself a break. Don't just jump into relationship. And as parents as well, please, let's teach our children on how to speak up from childhood. Let's teach them how to be vocal, how to express themselves, because things like that can lead to trauma. It can help kids, it can prevent kids from being able to share their emotions. And you as an individual, when you are able to share your emotions, to share your feelings, what's going to happen? You're going to be buckling up things, and eventually you're going to be like a ticking bomb waiting to explode. And that's going to be all for today, guys. And don't forget to like this video, comment down below, and share. I hope to see you again next week. Bye.